So we're starting off with module number 5. In module number 5, you have three parts. One is Java AWT, then you have Java Swing, and even Java Applets. By the time you complete your Java AWT and your Java Swing, parallelly, you should have even completed your project. All of you have already done your project titles in the Google Sheet. I have a few clarifications with a few of you. I'll get back to you after the class. So as and when we go through the class, it means you are even developing your project in parallel. So as I was telling you, the first component is Java AWT. So today we will start learning about what is an AWT. Now, AWT means Abstract Window Toolkit. Abstract Window Toolkit. It's an API. You very well know what is an API. Now, it's an API used to develop GUI. Sanjay, tell me what is a GUI? GUI or GUI. What is a GUI?
Graphical user interface.
Yes. A GUI is a graphical user interface where you have a concept of windows and all these boxes and all that. So that is what you call a GUI or a GUI. So AWT helps you to make a GUI based application. Now, AWT has two main characteristics. It is platform dependent and heavyweight. As I told you, after you complete your AWT, you will be learning about Java Swing. Java Swing will be the reverse of AWT. Swing is platform independent, Swing is lightweight. So that is actually the main difference between AWT and Swing. Anyway, let's come back to AWT. As I was telling you earlier, AWT is platform dependent, which means, according to the view of your operating system, the components will be done. And it is also heavyweight. Heavyweight means all the components you use in the AWT, it will be using your OS resources. Simply because it is using your OS resources, you tell it is a heavyweight component. So these are actually the main characteristics of AWT. It is platform dependent based upon your OS, and it is heavyweight, which means it will be using your OS resources at large. Now, this is the AWT class hierarchy. Starting from the object, you'll have checkbox, group, and component. Okay, we will be learning all of these. Component, you will have container, label, button, checkbox, and text component. Text component, you will be having text area and text field. Okay, text field is for a single line, and then single text, and text area is for multiple. Then you will have panel, you'll have window. From panel you'll have applet, window you'll have frame, and dialog. So this is how the AWT class hierarchy is. And just like any other component you have to import, when you do your AWT in Java, you'll have to import java.awt.star so that you are able to access all of these. We will be doing that when we do our programming. Don't worry about that. Now, to start off with AWT programming, we will start with frame. Okay, frame is the very basic concept of AWT. So we will be starting off with frames. What do you mean by a frame? Now, frame is a top level window with a border and a menu bar. Like, this you call it a frame. You'll have a minimize button, you'll have a maximize button, you'll even have an exit button. Okay. So, and here you'll have an icon button. So this is what you call basically a frame. Okay, frame, you'll have a border, you can have menus in your frame, and you can have text, you can have labels, you can have button and all that. Now, once defined, a frame is a container which can contain other components. Once you have a frame, inside the frame, you can have a label, you can have a button, you can have a checkbox, you can have all the other things. Now, to add a frame into your Java, you do have a method called add to add a frame, to set the size of the frame, how long it should be, and how much width it should be. You have set size, you have set layout, and to see the frame, you have a method called set visible. So these are actually the very basic methods you have in frame: set size, set layout, and set visible. Okay, so before we go into programming of how to create a frame, you have to learn two more things. How to create a frame. There are two ways in which you can create a frame. One is you can either create it through inheritance, or you can create it via an association. Like, you can create an object. You create an instance of the frame class and then you do it, or you extend the frame class and then you do it. Anyway is fine. We will learn both. Whichever you feel you are comfortable in, you can follow it. Now, let's directly go into program, how to create a frame. Okay, I'll open up my IDE. Okay, Sancha, I believe you can see my IDE, Eclipse. Okay. Okay, I'll create a new package. Let's say AWT. Okay, and I'll do all my AWT programs inside this. I'll create a new class. I'll call it frame. We have two methods, right? So what were the two methods? We'll create programs in our name. One is via inheritance and one is via association. Okay, so I'll create my first program via inheritance frame. Okay, I'll have a public static void main. I'll finish it off. Okay. Now I'm planning to do my AWT. So the first thing what I'll do is I'll import my Java AWT jwt.star. Okay. Now we'll start doing a programming. Okay. I suggest when you do your AWT programming, kindly use the object-oriented concepts. Otherwise, your main will look too lengthy, because for each and every component, you have to explicitly write code. Okay, there is no drag and drop of components in AWT. You have to hard code, which means, if you are planning to write everything inside your main will look too confusing and too huge. Okay, so we'll explicitly use object-oriented concepts. We will be using several classes, and then so that your main will look tidy and understandable at the end of the day. So first, what I'll do is I'll have a constructor class inheritance frame, Control C. I'll just finish up this. Okay, and here I'll just create an object and call that frame, inh frame, f, let's say f is equal to new INH, capital INH frame, Control C, new INH frame. Okay, so that's it, my main. Okay.
Ma'am, object creation IN frame ne vandittullu.
INH. Okay, I left out an H. INH frame. Oh,
Ma'am,
insert key is
keyboard
on. Yes, insert key was on. INH frame, INH frame. Okay, anyway. Now let's come back. Now we are doing it with inheritance. When you do it, when you are creating a frame via inheritance, you have to inherit a class called frame. Extends, okay, extends a class called frame. So which means, now you're planning to create a frame. Now the first thing to create a frame is you have to set size for your frame. Okay, set size. If I'll just give some random numbers, 100, 100. Okay, so which means, I've set size from my frame, which means, 100 will be too small. I'll just go for a bigger number. It's in pixels. Okay, 300, 300. Okay, so I'll just have a constructor frame INH. Okay, 300, 300, where, it is width, height. Width, height. So, I will be getting a square kind of a frame. I will be getting a square kind of a frame, which now means, I have set the basic frame. Now, you have to make it visible. To make it visible, you have to make it true, because by default, your frames will be false. Okay, by default, it is always false. So whenever you create a frame, you should even make it visible. Okay, I've set a size 300, and I've even set it with.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just correct the name, INH frame, INH frame. Okay. So I've set the size. I've even made it visible to true. I'll just save my program. Okay. Class inheritance frame. Yeah, I have the constructor, the class name, the constructor. Okay, good. Okay, I'll just run my program. Okay, can you see a frame visible? Can you see a frame visible? By default, you will have a minimize button, you will have a maximize button, you will have a close button, and you will have an icon. You will have an icon over here, which is by default the Java icon. So this is what you call a frame. It's a square frame, 300 by 300, 300 by 300. This is what you call an AWT frame. This is what you call an AWT frame. You might notice that when you create the frame, your minimize button will work and even your maximize button will work, but your exit button, it will not work. Your exit button in frames, by default, it will not work. To exit your frame buttons, we will learn it later. We will learn it later. Like, you have to write a method for that. By default, your AWT frames, they will not close on its own. Like, even though you click it, nothing is going to happen. But all the others will work. You go on clicking, it will not work. It will not work. So let's see what to do for that later. Okay. Now, together with that, you can set the background. Like, we'll just learn a few more methods for, you can write f dot. You have lots of methods. Imagine you want to set a color, a background color. Set background. Okay, we'll learn that in the next method. Okay, so anyway, this is how you create a frame via inheritance. Now we'll just do another program, the second method. You'll find the second method much more easier. What was the second method? Association. Okay, association frame. Okay, just copy, Control C, Control V. Okay, association frame. I'll create a constructor for that. Okay, I'll just write a object over here. Control C, Control V. F is equal to new. Oh, too many brackets. Oh, I'll finish off my brackets later. Okay, now let's come over here. Okay, now you are creating it via association. Okay, now when you create it via association, you do not extend it from your frame class. Okay, when you do it via inheritance, you are extending it from your frame class. But when you are doing it through association, what you do is you will be creating an object of the frame class. Okay, so now I'm creating an object of the frame class. Let's say new frame. Frame is a default class which is available in Java. Okay, so this is the main difference here. What you're doing is you are extending the frame class. You are extending the frame class, you are inheriting. Here what you are doing is you are creating an instance, creating an object of the frame class. I'll just copy the same code over here. Control C, Control V. Here, whenever you use these methods, you will use it with the object. Okay, f dot set size. Okay, the same thing, or let's have it a bit more bigger. 400 f dot set visible to. Okay, I'll just save my program. Okay, you'll find this much more easier because because you use it with the help of an object. The moment you click a dot, all the methods will come. That is why I told you here, let's not set the background color, because your spellings might go wrong, because you'll have to type. Things don't come by default. Okay, but when you do it over here, because you're using it with an object, see, things become very easy. I wanted to set my color, a color. Okay, so set background. You need not do a much of memorizing. You simply click a dot, things come. Now you can set a color. Now when you set a color, this is how you set it. Color, American English, no OUR, it is OR. Select whichever color you want. Let's say I'll need a red color. The background color, both RED caps and RED the other, you get a red color. I'll even set a foreground color. F dot set okay, foreground color dot, let's say blue. Okay, let's have it too much colorful. Yeah, blue. Okay, so I've set a background and a foreground color. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, oh my god. Okay, the blue background, the foreground color is not getting visible. Anyway, this is how you set colors. As I told you earlier, this exit button, it will not work. Don't worry. For the time being, just minimize it. You'll have a collection of all the frames you have over here. The only way as of now you can exit it is take your task manager and then exit each one by one. As of now, we will learn how to exit it later. As of now, this is the only way you could do it. Anyway, let's come back. So this is how you create a frame in AWT. Okay, you can even give a name for your frame. Okay, my Java frame. Okay, you can give a name. Let's save and run it. Okay, now you get a name over here. My Java frame. You can even change this icon over here. This icon over here, can you see? It's that always the teacup. By default, you have that teacup over here. You can have another image. You can have another image. Just a minute. Let me copy an image. Okay, some image over here. What image is that? Okay, let it be whatever image, some image. Just take the path of that. Okay, now I have an image in hand. I have an image in hand. Okay, I'll just put that. Oh, what was the name of that image? One dot png. Okay, one dot png. Okay, now what I'm planning to do is I will be putting, instead of that teacup, that Java icon over there, I'm planning to put an image over there. Now, to set an image, you have a method called set icon image. Okay, set icon image, and then you can have an image. Now, to set an image, or to set an image into your frame, you should be using a method called get image. You should be using a method called get image. And what was my path? This is my path. Just copy my path. I'm getting my image from this particular path. I'll just correct it. E. How come 2? Okay, that was a commenting. E backup downloads 1.png. Okay, now this get image method, it comes from the toolkit. It comes from the toolkit, the AWT toolkit. So in case you are downloading any image, this could either be a URL or it could be a path in your local machine. You should be using toolkit dot get default toolkit. No, things are very easy. You know, you just go on clicking a dot, it will come. Toolkit dot get image. Okay, I'll just save it in an image type. Image, let's say I is equal to, okay, I. If I have an error over here, image I is equal to toolkit got get default toolkit. Get, what happened over there? Get dot get default toolkit. Yeah, the bracket, I missed that bracket. Get default toolkit, get image, whatever, and then I've set my icon image. I'll save it. I'll run my program. Okay. Oh, that was some image which didn't have much clarity, but anyway, my image has been changed. I'll just check what that image is. Okay, it was this particular image which I taken for your seniors, GPS locationing. Anyway, this is the image which came in your Eclipse. Okay, your frame. Okay, so it was that GPS image. It doesn't look very clear when you make it small. Anyway, this is how you do a Java frame. Okay, so we have learned a few things: how to create a Java frame, the size, the visibility, the background color, the foreground color, how to do an image, and all of that. So we have done frame creation via extending a frame class and even by creating a frame class instance. Okay, you can follow whichever method you feel comfortable. Personally, I feel comfortable with the association method because whenever you click a dot, methods come up automatically. So memorizing need be less. Next, we will learn about something called buttons. Okay, how to create buttons in Java. You know what is a button. I need not tell you what is a button. A log and things which you push and an action happens, you call it a button. Now, whenever a button is pressed, it notifies a concept called listeners. What is a listener? We will learn it after some time. Anyway, you will first learn how to create buttons into your frames. Now, when you create a button, Okay, when you create a button, there is a method called set bounds. Not only button, be it button or be it a label or be it a text field or whatever, you have a method called set bound. Set bound, it will be having 4 parameters. Okay, that is what I've written over here. Let's not worry about it. When you write a program, you will feel it much more easier. Anyway, I'll do a button over here. Let me create a button. Okay, so I'm creating a button called B. Button B is equal to new button. As I told you earlier, all your button, be it your text, whatever, you are creating it inside a frame. A frame is a basic container which can contain all these. Okay, so now I'm creating a button. Let's say a button called enter. A button with the name enter. Okay, I've created a button which will have a text called enter. Now you should be positioning the button. To position the button, sorry, it's not B dot, it's, you directly have to write it over here. Set, okay, it came anyway. Oh, luckily it came. Set bounds. Okay, you will have 4 parameters: X, Y, width, and height. You have to be entering all these parameters. Okay, X, Y, width, and height. Okay, now here the values are 100, 50, 300, 30. Okay, now 100 pixels, 150, sorry. Okay, 100. Okay, from bottom 100, from top 50. Okay, so my button will start over here. Okay, I'll have a length of 300 and then I'll have a width of 30. So these are the bounds of my button. Okay, you can give in any numbers. I'll just give some random numbers. Okay, I'll give 20, 200. Okay, but see that, you know, it matches with these. It shouldn't go out of that. 20, 200. Let's say 100, 30. Okay, now I've set bounds. Now, once you have set bounds, you should use the add. Add it. Add what? Add B. Add the button onto your frame. Okay, I'll save it. I'll run my program. Okay. I didn't give a border, that is why. Okay, I'll just minimize it. Okay, 20, 100, oh, 100. Just give a much more smaller one. 80, 20, visible 20, 200. I'll give a much more smaller one. 100. Set bound 20, 100, 80, 30. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll set a layout over here. Set layout, otherwise you will get a problem. Set layout null. Okay, set layout null. Okay, add B. Okay, we'll run the program. Okay, so I'll show you. 20, this is 20, this width is 20. Now you can see the mouse. This width is 100, my x-axis is 20, this is 100, this is 80, the length is 80, and this is 30. Now I have positioned. Now I have positioned my button inside the frame. Okay, so we were over here. Yeah, x-axis, this is your y-axis, then you have the width, and then you have the height. Okay, so these are your set bounds. Not only set bounds for your button, for your text, for your label and all that, it will be following the x-axis, the y-axis, the width and the height. Okay, so have this particular method in mind. We will be using it very much everywhere. Okay, next we'll see how to create a label. I hope you know the difference between a label and a text field. Labels are read only. You can do no editing in it. Text can be written on the label. Okay, you have the same method, set bounds. Label is created the same way you create a button. Okay, you can even do alignment for it. You can do a right aligning or a left aligning. You even have something called text field. Text field you can edit. Label field you cannot edit. Okay, a text field is only a single line of data. If you want to have more, you should have text area. Okay, so we'll see both of that together. Okay, so I'll just copy the same thing. I suggest all of you to mute. Okay, so let's create a label. Label first. Label. Let's say enter your name. Okay. The one thing you need to be very careful is, setting your positions. Okay. So this I've already set at 2000. Okay. So this I will set it at, let's say 500, 80. Okay, 80, 30. Enter your name. F dot, and not label B. Let's say label L. L dot set bounds. L dot, frame. Into the frame, you are adding a label. Okay. So I've added a label. Enter your name. I'm having an error over here. Not new button, new label. Okay. You need to be a bit careful when you do copy paste. Okay. So I've entered a label. Enter your name. I'll even have a text field. Okay, not label. Text field. Let's say T. T is equal to new text field. Control C, Control V. You need to enter something over there, which means you did not write anything over there. You need not give a title for that. That is the place where you are going to enter something. Okay, so T dot set bounds. Okay, 500. Okay, so I'll need it just after my enter your name. So 100 plus 80, 180. So let's see. I'll give it 200 over here. 80, 30. Let's see. F dot add T. Okay, so I'll save this. I'll run my program. It might be unaligned. Aligning, we'll do it later, but anyway. Okay, it came one on top of the other. Okay, no, my buttons should have gone down. Okay, so this should have gone up and all that. Okay, 500, not 5. Okay, so I'll just realign everything. This should not have been 5. It should have been 205, isn't it? 205, 80, 30. Okay, 200, 100. Okay, 200, 100. Okay, so enter your name. Enter your name. Button should have gone lower. My button should have gone lower. So button should not have been 2000. Button should have been, let's say, a 5300, 5400. It's a trial and error. Oh no, it can't go 400 because that was the end of my frame. I'll give it 250. I'll give it 250. Okay, better. Enter your name. My name, it fully didn't come in. Enter your name. 80 wasn't enough for that. 130. I'll save and then I'll run. Okay, so I have enter your name. Here I can type in Anne, and then I can click and enter. Nothing is going to happen when I click the enter because I have not written code for that. Anyway, I have a button over here. I do have a label over here, and I do have an editable text field over here. I have a frame. I can have my photograph over here, name my frame, and so on. So these are the very basic things in Java AWT, how you create a frame, put in a label, put in a text box, put in a button, and so on.